Hello and welcome to another monthly reading journal video. This month was very busy for work, so I only have 2 sessions and this first one is 11 books. Thanks to my physical TBR reading vlog, there's a few goals that I've made progress on. I'm not close to finishing any of them, but it is nice to see progress finally after so long. I also finished another book in my 25 in 2025, Songbird of the Sorrows. Once again filling in a lot of yellow and red on my bookshelf tracker, but we do also have some colour variation this session. With this session, I also started on page 4 of my books read list. And also had a few books to mark off on the series tracker and a new series to add. I'm consistently not reading from any new countries and I really should try to branch out more. I was filling out a lot of days at once, which meant I annoyingly made a mistake, but luckily it was pretty easy just to stick some spare paper over the wrong box and fill in the right colour. I also forgot to mark the dates I finished books, so you will see me fill that out for the whole month in the next session. I got 3 for my romance trope bingo this session: Women Love Women with Sadist, Fake Dating with Love Arranged, and Age Gap with Wildcard. Wildcard wasn't a huge age gap, it was only 12 years and it wasn't a huge focus of the romance, but I am counting it because I don't see myself reading a true age gap romance. Only 4 more tropes left before I fill the full board. And only 3 letters left on the alphabet challenge, with no new ones this session. Now on to the monthly section, and we read 3 of our TBR already. I screwed up here and didn't leave enough room for the red scrolls of magic, so I'm having to place it where the dates sit, which is a bit awkward. Because I'm filling out so many reviews, I prepped all of the sections at once to save time. If you want to see how I do this, I show it in last month's video. Our first book is Sadist by Chaos Davy. This is a lesbian love story about a woman who falls in love with her kidnapper, basically. I didn't mind the story, however the book itself was very short at only 200 pages and it unfortunately sacrificed character development and world building to be that short. The romance also wasn't really built either, feeling like a sort of insta-love Stockholm syndrome type relationship, which was disappointing. Despite all this, the plot was very interesting and I didn't hate it too much, so I gave it 3 stars overall. The next book was Desperate Run by CJ Riggs and M.L. Burns. This is about a woman who goes to a horror carnival where the actors can do whatever they want to over the course of the weekend, and a man who is the most formidable actor that she catches the eye of. I quite enjoyed this story. It was very dark in content, but the relationships between the FMC, MMC and both of their respective friends was very sweet and wholesome. The MMC was also very understanding of the FMC's past and current traumas, and I appreciated how he supported her through them, both by giving her space but also assisting in any way she asked for. I gave it 4.25 stars. Next, I finally got to the newest book in the Crowns of Nyaxia series, The Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk by Carissa Broadbent. I read the rest of this series in May of this year and I was obsessed with it, especially book 1 of this current duology, so I was very excited to see how it ended. There isn't much I can say about the plot as it is all based on what happens in book 1 and duology 1, but I think that everything, including the cliffhanger of book 1, was handled really well in this book. Compared to the first duology, this one felt a lot shorter to me in my experience of spending time in the world, however, it wasn't in a negative way like with Sadist. The ending wrapped up this duology well and left me with a lot of questions about what duology 3 will entail, even though I know it will be in the third kingdom of the land this story is set in. I gave it 4.5 stars. These next 6 books I read all during my physical TBR reading vlog, so I won't spend a lot of time on each. If you'd like to know more about my feelings on each book, check out the vlog. Love Arranged was the first book and the last in the Lakefront Billionaires series by Lauren Asher. It was a good wrap up on the series and I gave it 4.25 stars. Then was the first classic, The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I already knew the story going in from the movie and it was a short and easy read, except for the over 50-page essay-like introduction at the start, giving it 3.5 stars. Then, mostly on audio, I read Kim Ji-young, born 1982 by Cho Nam-ju. This book was an interesting commentary on the various stages of a woman's life, especially in South Korea at the turn of the century. I really enjoyed it and gave it 4.5 stars. Then was my surprise poetry book, The White Book by Han Kang. I was confused and felt stupid while reading this, but really enjoyed some of the prose, so much so that I did some annotation in the book itself. I would like to read it again sometime and see if I glean even more out of it than I did during my first read through now that I know what I'm expecting. 4 stars. Then we were on to Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. A story about a maid telling her tenant a story about the very selfish and hateful people who have lived in this house and the house next door. I didn't love the characters' personalities, but I did enjoy the story, so it got 3.75 stars. The last book from this vlog was The Red Scrolls of Magic by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu, book 1 of the Eldest Curses series. I actually forgot to write in Wesley as an author, so I'm adding that back in now. This is another series in the world of the Shadowhunters, this time following Alec and Magnus, who are 2 characters I enjoyed in the Mortal Instruments, so I enjoyed being back here in this world and gave it 4.25 stars. Now back to the books I haven't talked about on the channel before, first with Wildcard by Elsie Silver, the 4th book in the Rose Hill series. As I mentioned earlier, this is an age gap romance. It is also an ex-boyfriend's dad romance. However, there are a few points you learn throughout the book that make this seem less of a creepy or predatory trope. I actually really love this book, the communication between the FMC and the MMC and the overall world building, and so I finished it in one night and gave it a full 5 stars. Then I read Songbird of the Sorrows by Brady Otto. This is like a fantasy world, but the FMC is an assassin or spy. I really enjoyed her personality and the overall plot of the book. However, one gripe I did have is that it seems to be marketed as a romantasy. However, I found it very much was not. It was just more a fantasy that had a touch of sex with a man she shouldn't be sleeping with. There wasn't really many instances of love or relationship building between the two of them. Because of that, it definitely dropped some marks, but I'm still interested and will read the next book in this series when it comes out, and I gave it 3.75 stars. And that was the last book for this session. I will return very soon to end out September and set up October. And just like that, we're back, this time with the final 3 books to round out the month. Later that I did put Fearful and Bewitched in the wrong order on this page, as I finished them the same day, so Notion sort of formatted them wrong, but it wasn't a big enough of an issue that I bothered to fix it. I had figured it out by this point and put them in the right order on this page. Once again get to mark off another series and add a new one to the list. I'm getting dangerously close to running out of room on this spread. I can only start 5 more series this year without starting another page or adding a tip in. Books total this month, a big month of reading. I haven't read that many since March of this year. Because I didn't trust myself after my Red Scrolls of Magic incident on this calendar, I did add 3 women to this partially last session, so now I'm just completing that and the other 2 books I read. Also did not read any more of my TBR. Whoops. This first book is 3 Women by Lisa Taddeo? Don't know. Which is one of my friend's favourite books of all time, so I wanted to try it out. It is a non-fiction book about 3 women who all live in America and the experiences they've had in their life with sexuality, desire, love, life, marriage, childhood, and everything else in between. I found it a very interesting commentary, and I got very invested in the outcome of each woman's story, which were all written cohesively but with distinct voices to understand the personality of each woman really well. I gave it 4.25 stars. Next was Bewitched by Laura Thalassa. This is another romantasy, however, I enjoyed a bit of a different premise of this one, with the FMC being a witch who loses memories whenever she performs her magic, but also the world having all types of supernaturals like sorcerers, fae, werewolves, whatever you can really think of. The FMC is involved in an airplane crash in the woods of South America, and there she meets an ancient man who believes she is his wife. I found this piece I owned that looked like how the ancient designs in his tomb were described and tried to use my guillotine to cut it up, but that went quite poorly, so I had to fix it up with scissors. After the FMC is rescued and sent home, strange things then start happening to and around her, and she starts getting involved in trying to figure out what's going on. This was a very interesting book, and it also set up for the ongoing series very well, so I enjoyed it quite a lot. I gave it 4 stars. Our last book for the month was Fearful, the sort of final book in the Powerless trilogy by Lauren Roberts, as it is a novella that takes place during the same time period as the final book of the series. I did accidentally write in the wrong Corpal scores, so I had to spend some time fixing that up, but luckily it doesn't look too dodgy by the end. This novella follows the MMC's brother and the king, Kit, as well as a woman we did not meet in the original series, Mara. Anything else I would say spoils Fearless, so I'll just have to say that these two form a bond in this book, and we also see the bond that forms between two side characters, Lenny and Blair, which we also didn't get to see in Fearless. I actually quite enjoyed this insight into the non-main characters of the series and gave it 3.75 stars. It's now time to create the monthly stats page, which means turning back to the previous month to remember how I set it up. I'm getting a lot quicker at setting up these pages, but it still takes a bit of time. I love doing math for a reading journal. It's not a terrible month of reading. My favourite read was a 5-star read, and my least favourite read was still 3 stars with an average rating of 4.05. These pie slices are so janky and inaccurate this month, but they get the job done. final touches on this page by decorating it to look like the cover spread for September. I tried using a glue pen here that I recently got in a journal stay order, but I couldn't get it to work quite right. It did stick the September down, but I don't know if it was particularly worth the hassle over using the glue stick. Now to finish up the month with the start of journal pages that I need to update. Wildcard, of course, got the top spot of the month for the book bracket. It and Love Unwritten actually got the same compile score, so I'm expecting that to come back and bite me at the end of the year. In September, I read 14 books, 5,044 pages, 2 translated books, one of my 25 in 2025, had 1 5-star read, read for all 30 days of the month with authors from 6 different countries, and had no rereads, additions to the alphabet challenge, or goals completed. Pretty full and great month of reading. And now it's time to set up ready for October. I brought out all my stationery to start choosing some items to use. I was originally planning to go with like an orange type theme, however, as I was choosing, it sort of ended up being more of a black with orange accents. Once again, I'm using the bullet tip end of one of my Tombos to create calendar lines. As it was a black styled theme, I could have used my Pigma microns like I used to. However, I've really enjoyed lately using the aesthetic of the Tombos for this, making the calendar seem more seamless with the rest of the page and less harsh lines. Did end up with a more spooky theme as well, so spider sticker warning coming up for anyone with severe arachnophobia until the end of the video pretty much. point, I'm just finding things I already own and sticking a bunch of them around that I think suit the theme and will fill the space. This is the finishing touch, and I think I'm done with this page and with my reading journal for this video. So let's flip back to the start of September and have a look at everything we've done reading and journal-wise this month. While I didn't love my September cover page when I first made it at the start of the month, it has definitely grown on me more, and I am happy with how all my review spreads turned out. I definitely feel like I need a few more versatile stationery pieces that would work well to help design these review spreads, especially fantasy themed things, but I made it work. I'm also happy with how the October cover spread turned out, especially as I tried an actual theme with going more Halloween-y this month. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more reading journal content, have a look at my previous monthly wrap-up video that is on the screen right now. And now it's time for me to start reading for October. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.